Welcome in. My name is Yao A. Owusu Jr., your resident vitality consultant. Now to my right, Andre Vivens Jr. To my left, what should we call him? Mr. Shape Up, Mr. Waves, Mr. Good Skin, Nicholas Lopez Jr. Don't choke on your water. Lopez Jr. All right, guys, as always, season 3, you know what time it is. Let's get into it. We're talking about physical recovery. Just a conversation about it. If you guys are wondering how you can recover physically, tune in, watch the whole episode. Let's go, gentlemen. Dre. Physical recovery. No script.
I got a few things actually. Number one, Yao, how does it, now that you've changed your program and you stopped lifting like
Facts.
and you decided
Facts.
and you changed your nutrition
Facts.
with your refeeds.
Facts.
Right? So that's number one. And Nick, how does it feel that you're back on your strength training program and you're not training? Now you're actually lifting. You're actually really
I'm done with my rehab, yes.
You're committed to lifting, right? Smart. He's committed to lifting smart now. How does it feel to know that before when you were lifting heavy but still eating as if you were lifting lighter weight and doing more cardio, trying to stay lean?
Eating like a rabbit, lifting like a lion.
Exactly.
Ain't gonna work.
Yeah, so I want to, those are like the two questions that I'm curious about, like what y'all feel and like realizing that, damn, okay, I want to say this is actually what I need to do and not run away from it and understand that this is a need.
Yeah, it's definitely a need. So body types, and we're talking about recovery. When I started lifting heavy again, i.e., like he said, stop lifting like a, that's what my body needs because I'm an ectomorph. So ectomorphs, slim, but still sexy, we have to lift to be our best. I can do cardio all day, right? So my body didn't really need to up its recovery because I can do that all day. I had to really hone in on my recovery because I started doing the hardest thing for my body, which is gonna make the most change. Whatever is the hardest thing for you will create the most change. So once I started creating that change of lifting, you can see these shoulders coming back. I'm looking like I'm 28 at least, again.
Ooh, that's a good age.
That's really good, I'm 42. So my recovery went through the roof. But I did not have to stretch as much. I did not have to roll as much because I was doing things to make me strong. So when you're in pain, you're weak. That's it. And if you need to recover because of pain, sometimes you need to lift. Sometimes you need to move. You have to understand what you need to do to get into that groove. Okay, I'm rapping again. Hold on now. So that's what I would say my experience is. I've always felt my peak, and I've always felt like I didn't have to recover as much when I was lifting heavy because that's what I needed. Whenever I went into straight performance and running and sprinting, I would have to recover way more because my body was so used to doing that over and over again. So I was seeing a lot of the overuse injuries because all I was doing was dynamic, cardio, running, because it's easy for me. So I just fell into that trap. Let me just go do some sprints today. Let me just go do some RHM, some stretching. But one, that's not gonna get me where I want to get to. I was still a skinny twerp. Right? And I say this because you want to optimize your body. It's nothing wrong if you're in that area where you're slim or you're skinny. Don't feel bad, but you know you have to improve because you're weak. Just be honest. Okay, I'm speaking to my ectomorphs now. You want those gains? I know you do. I know you do. Make sure you do it safely. Make sure you do it with a program, a plan that was made for you. But you got to stop all this. Man, I just want to run. I just want to stretch. You need to lift some. You need to lift some weight. That's my ectomorph. So I can only speak for ectomorphs. He's a mesomorph. He has changed his body from an endomorph to a mesomorph. So I would love to hear your answer.
Before you go, how did the refeeds of you now adding in the
Yes.
burgers?
Okay.
Actually,
so
before you were
adding in, so I'm getting at least one burger a week, at least. I think last week I got 2. And the reason is because as I'm lifting, the type of fuel you need is different. I don't need the bun or the fries, but they are used for me as an ectomorph because I need 55% carbohydrates. If you follow us, Eat Right for Your Body Type, that's our nutritional method. Look at some of the other videos, okay, and they'll go into some detail about that. So I know I need carbs. So if I'm lifting, I need carbohydrates. That's the only thing that feeds the muscle in the brain is carbohydrates. So carbs aren't bad. They're just inappropriate or appropriate. I had an appropriate refeed because I wasn't doing it. I was eating super clean, super like a rabbit, and I'm going to look like a rabbit. You eat like a rabbit, you're going to look like a rabbit. You eat like a beast, you're going to look like a beast. Now do it properly, or what I say appropriately. Know what works for you, know what works for your body. Make sure you use it in recovery, right? So I used my nutrition for physical recovery. I had to lift heavy, so I ate heavy to replenish all of the nutrients I lost from lifting heavy. So that's where that refeed came in. If I didn't have that refeed, I probably would have got injured.
Perfect. Now I want to, with Nick, now that he's lifting heavy and he was still eating, you were saying a rabbit as a sense, right?
Right.
Now that you change your mindset because you still looked at yourself as a quote unquote fat boy. Now that you're lifting heavier, that we said in the beginning, now you decided to actually eat a lot more. Like have more dense meals. You still eat clean, but now your meals is more dense, I would say.
And Dre's not making fun of us. When he says fat boy or skinny, whatever, like we knew those things about ourselves, so don't get triggered, okay? He's not making fun of us or bringing us down. That's just where we came from, right? He came from a space of being overweight. I came from a space of being extremely thin, all right? Which are two not good. They're not good, all right? Because you're gonna have a whole slew of problems. We'll get to that a little bit later in the episode.
So the first question, I understand. The first time, when you were referencing the first time I lifted heavy, you were talking about during powerlifting competition?
Yeah.
Or were you talking about like just my previous cycle where?
I would say your let's go, you could choose, because I don't know which one. I would say your previous cycle, because I think that's when you backtracked.
Okay.
Still was eating in, the rabbit way.
The first powerlifting comp, what was the second question you asked?
From your previous cycle of heavy training, and you were still eating
like a rabbit.
You were still
so
eating
both
like
nutrition and recovery habits?
Yeah, because nutrition, nutrition is the recovery.
So from the first powerlifting comp, I remember I was having about 41, because I was doing my fitness pal, I was having about 4,100 calories. I was having like 500-600 grams of carbs, and I was still staying relatively lean compared to how I understood my body to be compared to other types of training. So I was very surprised by that.
What does that mean? Does that mean you were physically recovering better from that eating style?
With the higher,
with higher calories?
I would say yeah.
I would say
I'm gonna say yes because I saw some of that.
You bench press over 300 and some pounds, so you can't say you.
Let him answer.
Yeah, go ahead. I'd say from my perspective, it's like that's when I was also sleeping like 3 hours. Personally, during the training sessions, it was only my mindset getting me through it because I felt the most depleted I had ever felt in my life doing those sessions. But I would do it because there's a competition coming up. And even though how I feel now, the first training, even lifting with less weight, I feel like back then I was putting more stress on my ligaments and my tendons because I didn't have good muscle activation. So you did see some muscles respond from that, but my overcompensations stood out. So kyphosis and all these things, like all the muscles related to that got bigger. But because I wasn't using my whole body, I feel like the nutrition didn't really, because technically I should have been a lot leaner, a lot bigger for all the weight I was lifting in certain areas. But recovery was primarily, I didn't really have flexibility, which is why I got injured as soon as I tried to do a Spartan race. So because coming back to this cycle of where I'm now getting more in tune with my body and I know where my weaknesses are. The first cycle after the athletic kind of mock combine we did, where I first got to explore athletic movement, which was fun for me, even though it was very rudimentary. Coming out of that, I still didn't have the way to summarize as far as my recovery, my awareness of carbohydrates, education around it wasn't as high as it needed to be to support the recovery of the type of performance I was doing. And my education was still centered around what are starchy carbohydrates and what are simple carbohydrates. It's evolving now to where I understand the type of fiber type that carbohydrates come with. So I know that like the brown rice pasta and the brown rice and quinoa pasta, for example, that's a staple, even though it can be considered it's a processed starchy carb, so it has a different type of fiber type. But the way when I consume that, it's basically now centered around, like I understand that I understand the effect that it's really having on my GI tract, more so than am I really using this for muscle glycogen, which I know everything eventually will get converted to glycogen in a sense, but it's not like, that's not the direct purpose for me, like what I'm feeling. And like that's like changed a lot of things. So the first cycle, I wasn't having enough carbohydrates at all because I was like, Yao has a special.
We can tell.
Yao has a special that's actually not recommended for recovery. Okay, Yao has a special diet protocol to get camera ready, deplete your water, deplete your carb.
And that is a diet. That is a diet. We talk about nutrition,
yes.
but that is a specific diet to get a look.
So I was doing that while that first training cycle. Okay,
and that was not my. I did not.
Yeah, he did.
I did not advise.
It's me experimenting. Hey, I'm not scared to experiment. Okay,
that's why, because I know it was so much behind it.
It's not this. Now the third part, or now this third training cycle, and this is interesting. This is about recovery. This is about rehab.
Okay.
It's like a lot of people out there, practitioners who help people rehab or rehabilitate, they have to know when is the time to reintroduce strength training. It's an art. It's art. It's actually art. Now I'm learning myself. I'm like, oh shit, like, okay, like number one, let's go through a real-time example. We both, our practitioners out there should know that hamstring attachments go into the tibia, and your knee, for example, is 1/2 tibia.
Science. We're getting to science. Don't shut it off real quick. We're going to science. Go ahead.
1/2 tibia, 1/2 femur. So if you're worried about, if you notice on video that your knee is tracking incorrectly, if it's tracking in, maybe the muscle on the inner hamstring is that because it attaches to 1/2 of the knee, is pulling in. Okay, so basically I went through that thinking on a very deeper level this time because I started to feel a lot more in my body. Like I'm just feeling so much more body.
Connection.
Way more connection, particularly to my fingers, my hands, to my feet, and my toes.
Picking stuff up and putting it down.
It's that.
Fingers.
It's what you said.
Picking stuff up.
But it's what you said.
Yeah.
Listen,
No,
keep going.
No, this is joke. But we look.
I would say it's muscle activation because I've lifted heavy before.
You weren't lifting with your
Nah,
actual
you-
fingers. You
it's
weren't
not
lifting with your
I'm
actual
saying it's not
toes.
lifting. It's not just. We have to tell. It's not just lifting heavy.
It's not lifting heavy. You need to be.
Go and put.
All right, you know
You
what?
need to be connected.
It's so easy for me that I think that people should know that.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's so again different.
People should know
It's
that.
different
Yeah, they
body.
should know.
It's different body types. Now, Dre lifts and is disciplined. Now let's not get it twisted. He is meant to be like this. Now he had to work to get there, but his potential is bodybuilding, right? He can look like that. It's going to be difficult for me or Nick to have that look. Has a big frame, so his connectivity, big hands, big feet, so it's hard for him to get those long ET fingers that you see. Show me your fingers, man. It's hard to get those guys activated.
wrap around.
You see what I'm saying? So Dre's very short, not short, but like compact and powerful, so it's easy. And I'm just skinny, so it's hard for me to do it as well. So what Nick is saying is correct. What he's saying is correct. He needed to lift heavy to fix all of his holes. Pause. But he needed to stay activated while lifting heavy because he was lifting heavy, but he wasn't lifting with his feet and his hands, the things that are touching the ground and touching the weight.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
Now you have that awareness that you can actually use your fingers and toes, and now all of a sudden, you're not lifting as heavy, but you're getting bigger. You're filling out. Your chest is getting bigger. Your hamstrings, your glutes, all these things are getting bigger. So just to kind of, if you guys were getting lost by all the science stuff, they're both correct. You need to feel everything. And then once you feel everything, you've got to lift heavy. So, if your goal is to be strong, stay strong, live life, not get injured, blah, blah, all those type of things.
Yeah, so there's almost like a dissociative condition to, like if you think about how body dysmorphia can lead you to pain, how overuse injuries can lead you to pain. In a sense, that's why, and this is for still in the rehab and the recovery aspect. okay, say someone's injured. You have to know what led to someone disconnecting from this space in the first place.
For sure.
Okay, so bring back awareness, the mobility, the bands, the cushions, the toys, and the that you're hiding in the closet. All those things is all those things should serve as a mechanism to reconnect.
Reconnect.
Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Cue the music.
But you gotta know you can't rely on them. Okay, in both ways.
Okay? That's very true. You cannot rely on
might get overstimulation.
So you bring awareness. You bring awareness. You figure out why you disconnected from that space in the first place. And then it's the art. It's the art of the coach. It's the art of the practitioner. Regardless of all the letters you have in front of your name, blah blah blah, doesn't mean you know the art. The art is to know and to sense when this person has reconnected with understanding how they disconnected in the first place that led them to an overuse injury. And then it's the art to know, okay, now it's time to rebuild.
Exactly.
Quote unquote, rebuild.
The strongest bridge needs a strong foundation.
Exactly.
And what he's saying is you need a strong foundation if you want to be a strong bridge to success. Understand when he says rebuild or he says build, it's all recovery. If you're trying to get them gains and you're trying to build, make sure you have a solid foundation. That means make sure you recover so you can do it again. Now, if you're taking the that Superman recovery,
hold on, and this too. I heard about.
Rub it on that.
Thought about that.
Rub it. They rub
Gel.
it. They rub it. I don't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that. But there's a lot of there's more drugs for recovery now than ever in human existence. They got a pill for ADHD, a pill for this and that, depression, a pill for this pain, and a pill for an Advil, and a Tylenol, and a Satan. They got a pill for everything. But what we're trying to offer you is to get out of that matrix and learn how to use your body to recover. We call that RHN, Restorative Human Movement. Learn how to get a great foundation so if you do have a setback, like an accident, right? As soon as you recover from that accident, boom, you can get back to lifting. You have an injury. As soon as you recover from that injury, you can get back to it. And that's what the key is. People never recover so they can rebuild.
Nice.
People never recover. They never recover. They don't do the recovery. They don't take it seriously. They feel like they can just do whatever they want, and I'm a human, I should rebuild. No, that's not how the body works.
Damn.
That's not how the body works.
You know who you're calling out, right? Technically, by saying that, you're saying that every practitioner who's managing the pain in their clients is they're the same as the pharmaceutical companies they're calling out for doing disease management instead of
1,000%.
prevention.
You have trainers and coaches and PTs and orthos and all these things that will keep you in that cyclical nature of coming back to them as a patient. Wait. So you don't think that you don't think that doesn't happen? You don't think people are not going to actually fix you because they want you to keep coming back? We're in the business of if we fix you and transform you, then you're going to refer your friend, refer your network. That's what we want. We don't want to keep you here. Matter of fact, if I have to train you 5 days a week for 5 years, that's a failure. That's a failure. If I have to train you 5 days a week for 1 year, I still see that as a failure. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand who are the people in your life that are actually helping you recover. Have you ever transformed your body from an injury or a surgery to out of it? Have you ever gotten out of pain? How long have you been in pain? 1 year? 2 years? 3 years? Since 12 years old and you're 60? You guys got to get serious about this physical recovery. I get really passionate about this.
I got my program. You know what I'm about to do today?
What's that?
I got my recovery program scheduled out for the week. Okay, I got my static stretching today.
Let's go into it. This is the gym. We're going to the gym. Okay.
So what you said, the recovery, if you're training with someone 5 times a week.
For 1 year.
For 1 year.
And they're still in the same pain.
And they're still in the same pain.
No gains.
That means that they're not managing their recovery, because that means if you come in on a certain day and you're like fatigued and tired and you still putting them through something, and they're like, no, my goal is to train 5 times a week. For instance, for instance, I had my client text me, hey, Dre, I'm still feeling a little down, but I could come in if you want. I said, no, take today off, and we'll see how you feel tomorrow. We'll go by the end of the night, and I'll see how you feel tomorrow. That's managing their recovery. Now, what if I say, nah, you got to come in? And they're training through sickness, they're training through pain and all that stuff. You have rehab recovery, prehab recovery, active recovery, all these recoveries, right? What about rest recovery? You need rest recovery, not just come in and, oh yeah, I'm gonna help you. You know what? I think you need to rest today. Complete rest today. I see how you've been coming in. You've been lagging. You haven't been as strong. Normally we train Monday and Wednesday. You came in Monday. Let's take Wednesday off. Let's do Thursday. Give you an extra day of recovery.
That's programming. So you said you had your recovery program. He just put you through a little small recovery program. I want to talk to the people now. Let's humanize it, right? Because I believe there's a lot of people in pain, whether it's physical pain that we're talking about today, mental pain, trauma, whatever it is, you perceive it as pain. So what can we tell the people if they're in pain, if they're not in pain, they used to be in pain, they think they have some pain, what can we tell them right now that can get them on the right journey to that recovery, physical recovery of pain or just physical recovery in general?
I'm going to say same thing I shared in an earlier episode where to be aware is to be alive, because I wanted to tie the message back on there's something dead in that person if they're in pain. Like there's something, it could be a sense. It's like, is your sense of how you feel your feet, is that just completely dead? Do you not even, is it dead to you? Do you not, what's going to happen to a plant if you don't water it? It's going to die.
It's going to die. It's going to die.
So for people in pain, figure out what plants you haven't been watering. If your body is a tree, like what branches have you not been watering?
We're organic creatures. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Drop. Dre, what can we tell the people? Get on their journey to physical recovery.
Personal. We all can apply this. I think this is left out. So with my foot injury, the only thing that got me out of the boot, I listened to some people, and they say I should be out of the boot. I decided, say, you know what, my foot is feeling great. Let me just put on some sneakers. Let me see how I feel. Set me back maybe 3 to 4 weeks from just moving for a total of maybe 2 hours, right? Now, I was determined to get out of that boot. So there was one person I was training virtual, and this person was a PT, and a very great PT at that, because they specifically told me, and I didn't hesitate, they said, you need to go, I had this patient, she was told to go and get some specific sneakers. I don't want to say the name right now. Specific sneakers, and you should get this specific sneaker. I said, okay, I'm going tomorrow. Went there, took the boot off, started walking from there. And I haven't looked back since. And I purchased some of their slippers, kind of give me a little break from, I still train even on the, the aggravated or injured foot or recovering foot. Mm-hmm. So I purchased some sneakers that kind of give me some relief at times and at moments through the day. I think I say sneakers, slippers.
Slippers,
right?
You said sneakers and then slippers,
okay.
But they're the same company, right?
Yeah, same company.
Okay.
And I just want to say that, when it comes to the feet, and then Nick said something about feet, if you have a foot injury or foot issues or whatever, I think you should invest in a proper footwear. As far as recovery, they have footwear for construction workers. That's meant for construction workers. So if something falls or something, steel toe boots, right? It doesn't, break a foot or something.
Right.
You have track shoes, right? You're not going to run on the track with if you're doing sprints, you want to run on the track with the correct shoes, right? So you don't get injured. That's a part of your recovery.
Right.
If you get on a football field, football players has what? A soccer field, they have what? And they have these specific ones. You have low tops, you have high tops, right? So know what footwear to actually get and have different variety of footwear. As far as you have your flat sneakers, you can have squatting shoes, you can have your track shoes, you can have your flat shoes, you can have your walking recovery shoes. And I just want to say that, I didn't realize, I knew, but until you actually go through it, how much footwear is important.
Sure.
So I'm just want to leave out on that.
For sure. So recovery with footwear. I love that. So again, we're just going to stay on brand. The best physical recovery, in my opinion, is the one you stay disciplined doing as consistently as possible. So I can give you what I believe is the best, or what he believes is best, what he believes is best. You just need to take recovery seriously. And again, season 1, season 2, and now into season 3, we've gone over this so many times. Just check the tape, check the receipts, or visit us, www.peakvitalitysolutions.com. As always, my brothers, we love you. Hope you watch the whole thing. Like, share, subscribe to our channel. We are the Vitality Handbook.
I want to say something. We on footwear. I had to say that again.
Yes.
I'm sorry. These high fashion shoes, right? So those created a lot of foot problems and issues too for entertainers or for people, even your people that want to spend that amount of money on these high fashion shoes.
Right.
Your foot is not supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
So now, and people, like I said, you don't know until you do it.
Right.
So you have multiple people, celebrities, who said they asked them what was the worst footwear you purchased, and they all say the same exact thing. Man, those things mess my feet up. I'm still recovering to this day from that. So make sure you do your research and not, you know what? I'm gonna leave it at that.
Do your research, man.
Do your research, man.
Do your research, man. Let's get into it. Hook. Yeah.